Hi guys, welcome back to Bloom TV. Today I am going to do my Christmas Booktubeathon 2014 wrap up, and I had a really successful Booktubeathon. It was really great. It was everything I expected. I didn't take part in many kind of like the Instagram challenges or the reading sprints, mainly because a lot of them kind of when I saw I was checking my Twitter and I'd be out and I wouldn't have time to read. So that was a bit stupid. I didn't really keep up to date with those, or like they'd already be halfway through when I checked if there was any on. Just me and my bad timing. But I did have a really great booktubeathon, and I'm just going to discuss all the books I read. And I also did a blog post on this, so you can check that on my blog if you want to see pictures and stuff, and that will be linked in the down bar. And so the first thing I started off with reading is Attachments by Rainbow Rowell, and I had been reading this all week, and I had a really busy week. It was the last week of term. I had 2 concerts, some parties, stuff like that, just in the lead up really to Christmas, and I was breaking up from school, so I had no time to read. And I did want to finish this before the booktubeathon started, but I literally had no time, so I had a long journey on Friday down to London, and I decided I would finish this, and I did finish it, and I was about halfway through before the booktubeathon started, and I read about 200 pages of this and then finished it, and I gave this 4 stars. It was so cute. This is my second favourite Rainbow Rowell book now. I wasn't as massive a fan of Eleanor and Park as a lot of people are. Like, it wasn't for me, but I know a lot of people really love it, and Fangirl is my ultimate favourite. That's the first book I read, and it's my favourite by her. And Landline I was a bit iffy about, but this was so cute. I've heard people say that it's really adorable, but I was not prepared for the levels of cuteness that go on in this novel. I really loved the characters. They seemed so real, and I loved Lincoln. I loved reading the conversations between Jennifer and Beth, and this, if you don't know, takes place in an office in America in 1999, so it's just before kind of everyone was very worried about if going into the year 2000 that all the computers would crash and there'd be this massive bug, because that was something I kind of grew up my mum telling me about, so I kind of was familiar with that even though I was only like 3 at the time. But they're kind of all worried, and they work in a newspaper office, and it's about an IT guy called Lincoln, and he's very shy, and he's still living at home with his mum because he's kind of stayed through school and kept graduating through school, even though because he just keeps doing new courses and kind of staying in school, and he's very much a person that stays in his comfort zone, and he's quite shy. And then he gets a job as an IT technician at this office, and he's supposed to be reading people's emails, and he kind of gets hooked into reading these kind of personal emails between Jennifer, a copy editor, and Beth, a movie reporter, and it's so cute. It kind of deals with the consequences of that. Lincoln has such great character development. Actually, all the 3 main characters have brilliant character development, and I really adored it, and I gave it 4 stars because it wasn't my favourite, but I did very much so enjoy it. I'd probably give it like 4.5. So that was a really great start to the readathon. And then as I was behind, I have been reading a story a day since I think the 13th of December from My True Love Gave to Me. This is a collection of 12 short stories. Of course, you probably all know about this. It's edited by Stephanie Perkins, and it features some really fabulous YA authors in here, as well as some other authors like Kelly Link, who is a short story writer. And I was behind, so I caught up on 2 of these on the first day because I hadn't read the ones from the previous day because I was at a party. But this is really great. I have 2 left now, and I will discuss more like when I do get to the end of this video. And I will discuss it in detail, of course, in my wrap-up, because it was something I read over the whole of December. But yes, I read that. And then I decided to start on the Friday The Promise of Amazing by Robin Constantine. This is a YA contemporary book. It's set in America about a girl called Ren and a boy called Grayson, and it's a dual perspective book, and they kind of fates intertwine. It's very much an insta-love story. I really hate to say this because I bought this recently, but it was very much a meh read for me. I enjoyed it enough to keep reading, but I never felt connected to Ren or Grayson, and it was very much, they're kind of very, both quite rich, and I just never liked them, really. I never truly liked them. I mean, I kind of liked Ren, but I never felt truly connected to these characters. I mean, even if I disliked them, I can still kind of feel kind of empathetic towards their story and be like really interested in reading, but I just wasn't, and I just felt very mad about this, so I gave it 2.5 stars. But I started that on the first day, and in total I read 407 pages on the first day. And then on the second day I had a really busy day, and I actually went out to London to go to Foyles with my mum, because my mum hadn't been to the new building, and I really hadn't been to the cafe there before. I really wanted to go. Ended up buying some books, but that will be in my Christmas book haul. And that was quite a busy day. Just ended up being busy, and yeah, I didn't have as well, I read the most actually, ironically, but it was quite busy. And on that day I finished this book. I only had about 100 pages left. It might be a bit more, might be a bit less, and I ended up finishing this. Again, as I've said about this, 2.5 stars. And then I think, did I read one more story from this? I believe it was Gail Forman's, or someone else's. I'm not entirely sure who it was, but I think it might have been Gail Forman's. Yeah, read that. And then I started the I just dropped it. Oh my god, this is like a present as well, so I've now bent the cover. Pretend you didn't see that. I can't even edit this out because I don't edit my videos. Shh, sorry. I read The Girl of Fire and Thorns by Ray Carson. This is first book in a YA high fantasy series about a girl called Elisa, who's a princess, and she is getting married. And when she was born, on her coronation, or not coronation, like birthing, what is that ceremony called? Christening. When she was christened, or kind of presented to court as a baby, a godstone was sent to her, and a godstone is chosen every kind of century, and it's like a bearer of a godstone, and they have like a kind of jewel in their belly button, and they're chosen by God. And in the country she lives in, they're very highly religious, and this has a really fantastic setting. It's kind of like South American kind of Renaissance, I'd say, setting. It's fabulous because it's so unique, and Elisa does have an unhealthy relationship with food. She kind of comfort eats, but she is kind of chubby, fat on the side of that, and that's not a bad thing in itself. It's more the fact that she kind of eats when she's sad, and kind of does have an unhealthy relationship with food, but that in no way correlates. Like, it's not bad that she's fat, it's more that she has an unhealthy relationship. Anyway, sorry, I just wanted to make sure I was being clear on that point, because I didn't want to be offensive to anyone. But this is an excellent book. It's YA fantasy, and it's so great. Like, Elisa is such a unique character. She's very clever and smart and very brave. She undergoes a massive character development, and it's excellent. It's so great. I'd really highly recommend this, and I'm really looking forward to reading the rest of the series, and I gave this kind of a 4/4.5 stars. And then I finished that book on day 3, and in total on day 2 I read 434 pages. And on day 3, kind of in the evening, I started Saga, volume 1. This kind of... I've been wanting to read this all year, and I picked this up in Foyles the day before because I knew I wanted to get a graphic novel to read for the booktubeathon, because otherwise I wasn't going to complete like all the necessary challenges. And this is basically a sci-fi graphic novel series and it starts off with the premise of this couple on the front who are from warring nations, and it's kind of a star-crossed lovers thing, and they have a baby, and it's about them trying to, like, basically both of their countries are hunting them down, and it's about them, but there's also some other storylines, and this is fantastic. The art is beautiful. This is a slight warning though, this is highly explicit in like language, violence, sex, everything like that. this is an example of the art. It's really, really beautiful. I'd highly recommend. I gave this 4 stars just because I didn't feel like, as it's the first volume, I didn't really feel hugely connected to the characters. I mean, I did, but it didn't absolutely blow me away, but I did highly enjoy it. Definitely going to be carrying on with the rest of the series, and I'm gutted because I wouldn't be able to buy these in comic form. So I'm going to have to wait quite a long time between each volume, but really recommend, but just bear in mind that it has mature content. And that was it, really. Those were the books I read, and then on day 3 I didn't read any stories from My True Love Gave to Me because I was so tired. And in total on day 3 I read 385 pages. And now I'm going to go on to the challenges that I completed. So the first challenge was to read a book with red and green on the cover, and I did kind of discuss this in my TBR. Sorry, that's my phone going off. But I counted this book for that because this is kind of pinky red and this is green, and it was really the only book that fitted that kind of criteria that was on my TBR. So that's the first book. Then the second challenge was to read a book that was gifted to you or recommended to you. And this book was gifted to me from the lovely Luana from Introverted Bookworm 24 on Tumblr. She was my Secret Santa. The Secret Santa kind of exchange was hosted by My Thousand Life and Times, and Luana was my Secret Santa. She gave this to me. I'm so thankful to her. So thank you, Luana. I know you might be watching this. Thank you. I really loved it. So that completed that challenge. And then Saga completed the challenge of reading a book you've been wanting to read all year. I've been wanting to read this for so long, like really a very long time, possibly all year. So that completed that challenge. And then the 4th challenge was to read 3 books, and I did that. So I had a really great readathon, and I'll just find the total amount of pages I read, which was 1,226, and that's crazy. That was kind of like my personal goal for myself, was read over 1,000 pages, because that is a big number. And over a weekend when I was quite busy, I was doing family things, I think that was really great, and I read some really great books as well as a kind of not so great one. But yeah, really had a great time. And let me know in the comments what you read in the booktubeathon, kind of what did you read, what challenges did you complete, and I will see you all soon with another video. Bye!